Dear viewers, we are glad to welcome you to the live stream of the international discussions that provide the opportunity to unite many people from all corners of the world and give the chance to hear each other. All activities based on Creative Society platform are organized by volunteers in their free time with own resources because they are not indifferent to what's going on in the world. People who participate in the international discussions understand how important it is to be active and spread the message about Creative Society. These international discussions are simultaneously interpreted into more than 100 world languages. The precedent to these international discussions is the international conference which was held on December 4th, Global Crisis, Time for the Truth, where the vital topics were raised. This conference triggered a huge resonance among millions of people all around the world.
Yes, and now we are less than 2 months left, a strategic milestone for all humanity. On May 7th, the International Forum, Global Crisis, We Are People, We Want to Live, will take place. We will be raising such topics as the record rate of increasing climatic cataclysms. Why is the global media so silent about the scale of these threats? Modern collaborationism. Who is playing on the side of the common enemy of mankind? The real cause of global climate change. Who and why is hiding the truth from the people? Climatic disasters through the eyes of eyewitnesses. Refugees. Why does it affect everyone? Escalating social violence, slavery, and human trafficking. Since on this forum, we will continue to cover even more detail how Creative Society can help us solve these issues. The forum will be simultaneously interpreted into 100 languages. If you like to be an informational partner, you can write to info@creativesociety.com. And more importantly, if you are an expert on any of these above issues, or someone who has a practical knowledge of consumerist abuse, human slavery, refugee issues, or witnessed climatic disasters, please contact us. Who better to tell the truth than you?
Yes, and in our today's discussions, I would like to welcome our honored guests, Queen Dr. Uba Iwunwa, Ancestral Queen Ugobeze, and Barry Nyuydze Barry, Vice President of SKILLMETOO Association, Climate Activist, Community Manager Cameroon, Global Youth Climate Action Fund, External Relations Manager for POP Cameroon, and also a student in the University of Dschang. Before we start our today's discussion, let's watch a short fragment from the conference.
The world must wake up.
Climate summit in Glasgow. The British Prime Minister Boris Johnson urged world leaders today.
Le changement climatique est en marche depuis la fin du XXe siècle.
The climate crisis is not our fight alone, it's a global fight.
We see the warning signs in every continent and region.
It is the biggest problem humanity has faced ever.
Indila Horari de Yara Masulo Zaire Taki Rara Hanalana Hanuari Rara.
But the fire is spreading at great speed. Bak! Allah'ım yarabbim yardım et. Allah'ım yardım et. Allah'ım yardım et. Allah'ım yardım et. Arkada gelenlere yardım et.
More evacuations are underway this morning as firefighters try to contain a fast-moving wildfire.
You say just go easy now. Easy. The car's heating up. It's going to explode. Jesus, God, help us.
It's a terrifying moment. A mother is trapped in her car with her 4 kids while huge chunks of hail tumble down on them. She does her best to calm them down.
No, you're okay. It's okay.
Go, go. Go.
Just pull over, Jordy.
അപ്പോൾ ഒത്തിരി നഷ്ടം വീടെല്ലാം പോയി, കുഞ്ഞുങ്ങൾ പോയി, അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ വന്നു. ആ പൊട്ടി വന്ന വെള്ളം ഞങ്ങളുടെയൊക്കെ വീട്ടിൽ കൂടെ.
People feel that their workplace is changing before their eyes.
The tragedy is, this is not a movie. And the clock is ticking to the furious rhythm
It is a global challenge. We need to act. We feel the urgency.
The longer we fail to act, the worse it gets, and the higher the price when we are eventually forced by catastrophe to act.
This is the last chance.
We hear so many right words.
The climate crash.
But have those words saved us from climate change? Have those words prevented destruction of the environment? Our world is rapidly collapsing. What will be next? Are we able to change anything? This question has driven each of us to take action. Right now, with this live broadcast, a historic event is taking place. The International Online Conference, Global Crisis, Time for the Truth. 100 languages of simultaneous interpreting, organized by volunteers from 180 countries on the platform of the international project, Creative Society. This conference will change the future if everyone watches it.
At the conference, there were a lot of topics voiced that in our today's society, the media are silent about. And if these topics are silenced by the media, that means people are not aware of them. That is why today we will discuss some of these topics with our guests. Before we discuss deeper the topic of refugees, slavery, garbage, pollution, we would like to ask a generally important question. Dr. Uba, in your opinion, what can we do to create a demand by the people for these topics to be raised?
Thank you very much. By each and every one of us raising a voice, it depends on the publicity with what you are doing already. I know that Creative Society is doing an awesome job, and people are beginning to know about Creative Society, and people are beginning to pay attention. So by continually doing what you're doing, and for each and everybody that comes on board to take the message out in the media, out in their network, I think we'll get through to the work. So that's my own opinion.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And we would also like to ask Barry the same question. What, in your opinion, Barry, can we do to create a demand coming from the people for these topics to be raised?
Okay, once more, thank you for this great question you've asked. We know and heard in the world, we need what we call sensitization. We need to be sensitized right to the grassroots, like we call it in Africa. We also have to make sure that the media, through the publication, have an idea about what it's talking about and how we can do to contribute. Like for instance, Africa, majority of my friends, they don't even know more about creative society, and it's through platforms like this that our voices are going to be heard, because we are just youths who are growing and we are trying to raise our voice and help combat certain problems, global crises that are really growing day in and day out. So I think we need to be sensitized. We need to promote the media to publish such events so that each one of us should have a think about it. And due to this, we can raise our voice and the contributions will be heard. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Barry. Yes, everybody needs to learn about creative society. And we know that also you are a climate activist dealing with the topic of pollution and garbage. And we understand that we have killed the ecosystem completely. And it is really the work of us, the work of man. And in parallel with this, we understand that all countries already talk about the separation of garbage. But thanks to the study, it became clear that less than 9% of the garbage is recycled worldwide. And there is a general notion of the garbage mafia. All this garbage is actually even taken to different countries. It is accumulated in landfills, and people suffer because of the toxins that are released from this garbage. And these toxins are actually causing a variety of health problems, and some of them are even lethal, because these people, they have actually nowhere else to go. And actually, before we move to the next question, we would like to watch the fragment from the conference regarding to garbage from Global Crisis Time for the Truth.
What is this doing to the people that live in those houses?
Cancer. These people will all die of cancer. The groundwater here is all poisoned. Every family here is infected. Everyone. No one will be spared. They're here because they don't have any choice. They don't have any options to relocate. And they're forced to die here.
In Naples and the surrounding Campania region, environmentalists count at least 1,200 small and large illegal dumps. The amount of phosphorus, mercury, and arsenic in this region exceeds the established norm by 400 times. According to medical statistics, people here die of cancer twice as often as the national average. By controlling landfills, the mafia not only receives disproportionately inflated profits, but also has the ability to control cities. As soon as they ban you from bringing garbage into their landfills, the city turns into a dumping ground.
An average landfill can produce about 150 to 200 tons of film each month. We don't buy it at high prices, i.e., it's in the region of 13 to 19 cents per kilogram. Accordingly, you can multiply that same 100 tons by 13 cents. We'll take the minimum. Well, that's the profit only from polymers. Waste paper is now trading at around 20 to 27 cents per kilogram. Precious ferrous and non-ferrous metals are even more expensive. That's why people are like sitting on a gold mine there. Yes, well, no wonder it's called the garbage mafia. You can't just get in. There is a huge income and people will never give it up for anything, because these people are sitting on a pot of gold. Getting permission to use this land for a garbage landfill is extremely difficult. If we establish some serious organization, serious landfill, put the right equipment on it for sorting and all that, then I think we will quickly be visited by bad people and some inspections. My friends at one time bought an incinerator. They operated it for 3 months. Then men came in black jeeps and simply forbade them to work by threats and intimidation or something else. They just took over this garbage plant and that's it. And my friends washed their hands of it and said, "That's it. We will never get into this business again."
These are individual cases, but aren't these the same schemes we see at the global level? Garbage migrates from one country to another, poisoning the lives of millions of people. And all this happens in the shadow of private agreements. No morals, no ethics, purely business. Indonesia. In 2018, imports of plastic into this country totaled 283,000 metric tons.
The distance between the landfill to my house is about 500 meters. My whole family, my relatives, everyone is affected by the noise and smells.
60 to 70 containers arrive illegally every night in the city of Dschang in Indonesia alone. Garbage, which is then found in landfills, is brought in from Australia, Germany, and the United States. Most of the time, it is sorted plastic mixed with hazardous waste. Malaysia. The once beautiful country is now covered in mountains of garbage and dozens of illegal incinerators. Manufacturing companies in Japan, the United States, Germany, and Australia is bringing their refuse to Malaysia.
My daughter was a very healthy girl. Since April, she started having a fever. Her state worsened, and she started spitting up blood.
Most owners of illegal factories rent land from the local residents and build primitive ovens where they dispose of garbage for money, with no concern for the environment or the people who live nearby. Turkey. Since 2004, Turkey's imports of garbage from EU countries have nearly tripled. The main exporters of this garbage are Britain, Belgium, Germany, the Netherlands, Slovenia, Italy, and France. A big part of the garbage that enters Turkey is not recyclable and is simply dumped in landfills.
European citizens need to know this. Clean streets in Germany, in the United Kingdom or France, where people sort their waste carefully. Well, it doesn't end up in recycling facilities. As you can see behind me, it's here where there are mountains of illegal waste.
Africa. Custom officials in poor African countries are unable to monitor the thousands of containers that come in from around the world every day. Often they are accompanied by false legalizing documents. Almost all of the e-waste or barrels in these containers are filled with toxic materials. They are accepted in these countries without too many questions asked. A small bribe allows any refuse to be smuggled to its final destination. An abandoned beach, a forgotten stretch of coastline, untouched waters turning into a dangerous radioactive ocean. This ain't garbage, it's waste for some, but for many in these countries, it is place of work, life, and death. Ghana, Egbokloshi landfill. the world's largest and most dangerous electronic waste dump. More than 200,000 tons of electronic waste from Europe and North America are brought here every year. Kenya.
It's like the dump site has demons who ask for blood. There are days when there is just too much evil, seriously. You hear of people killing each other. Someone stabbed someone else with a knife or killed someone with a bottle. Sometimes you also hear that the trucks...
Alang ship breaking yard is the biggest in the world. The government and the contractors make a lot of money. But there are two major problems: the environment and working conditions.
Here, on 10 kilometers of the beach, 40,000 people take apart half the abandoned ships from around the world. With their bare hands, piece by piece, day after day. They have no protection for hands, feet, or head, or no modern tools. There are no ship plans, and they don't know at what point or how a ship might suddenly collapse. They cut metal knowing that the next cut could cause an explosion. Half of the companies in the world don't want to pay for clean ship recycling using the modern technology. It's too expensive. Instead, they sell them for scrap. Indian buyers make a profit by reselling the steel. Along is an environmental disaster. And at the same time, it is the biggest metal recycling in the world today. Similar dumps are found in other countries like Bangladesh, Pakistan. The price of this kind of ship recycling is human lives.
I have been breaking ships for 14 years now. My father was killed in a shipbreaking accident. The only thing I'm afraid of in the yard is death itself. I know this is dangerous work, and I am afraid because I have 2 children and a family.
We have never produced as much trash in our history as we do today. Garbage is dirty, it smells bad, but money doesn't smell. So in our consumerist world, there is always someone willing to take money off it. Storing refuse, fictitiously recycling it, or transporting it from more elite places on the planet to indigent is just business. A business in which the strongest survive. A business from which all life on the planet and man himself are slowly dying. A business that each of us sponsors every day. Can we stop it? Continuing to support the consumerist format of society? No. Because now all conditions have been created in order to earn huge money on such frauds. But we can change the format of our society from the consumerist to a creative one. When the 8 foundation of the creative society are adopted at the constitutional level in all countries, such schemes will be impossible to pull off. Because the main value in the whole world will be the life of human. In such conditions, there will be no place for all this dirt on this planet and any relations between people. Any business will be built only on improving people's lives, not on our death.
It turns out that in the current consumer format of society, recycling is simply not profitable. if we can ask you, Dr. Uba, can you share with our viewers, how do you see the situation?
It's terrifying. This situation is getting worse, and human lives are at risk.
And what can we do for the people to know about this situation?
I think creative society should establish in every country. And you have appoint ambassadors of creative society, because if we don't get to the grassroots, to the people that lives in the village, to the poor masses, then the message will be lost along the line. From the first time that creative society interviewed me, I see creative society as an umbrella that will unite the world together. And I took the message with me, and I've been spreading the message in my own network. And creative society, after coming on creative society, something clicked inside me. This is something that I have been struggling all my life on, how to get my message across. I've tried to sing to a message of peace through my songs, through my movies, through my writing. But the first time I came on creative society, a light bulb came on. My voice can be heard. I found my voice on the platform of creative society. And I became a total different person. I speak with boldness. To express my truth. This is the truth that I came into this world to spread my message. And now you're seeing people on the same soul journey with you. So when I came on creative society, I saw a creative society as a place where I have found my soul family. And that gave me, energized me, and empowered me to do more, because I have a message to speak my truth. So if we can have, creative society can create an avenue on your platform where people can sign on to be ambassadors of creative society, the world will hear about your message. The world will, everybody will come on board, and people will carry the message to be able to save lives, because knowledge is power. If people have the knowledge of their safety, have the knowledge of how to save their lives, lives will be saved. So that's one avenue where I see that creative society can change the world. And I believe it. And it's my truth.
Thank you. This was very inspiring. And I wish, that as many of people would be fond of the idea of creative society as you are. Now, if I understand correctly, we've got Barry back. So, Barry, could you also share with us, please, how do you see the situation with garbage and pollution?
We know the world is made up of 7 plus what global society tried presenting to us about what the garbage mafia is all about. And we've noticed that with the increase in population, more and more is being demanded of our world resources. Like I said, I'm a young guy who started working at age 7 with climate-related topics. I work with rural women. The biggest problem we have in the less developing world because of poverty. Many of us are forced to go and practice what we call agriculture. And the agriculture we're practicing is not a kind of a sustainable agriculture, sustainable kind of agricultural practice, because we tend to use more of pesticides, insecticides, and fungicides. And all of these chemicals we're using turn up to infiltrate into our soils, thereby contaminating the groundwater we have. And when this groundwater is being tapped for consumption, it tends that are being affected by this crisis. And when you look at the video being played by the the creative society on garbage mafia. We look at Italy, we see people who are making billions. Why is it happening? Because of hunger, because of poverty. We know the main idea of us human, our main objective is to become rich. We're trying to fight poverty and we're trying to provide. And in order to have these basic needs, we have to do things that are going to give us money. That's why you see in Africa, in the less developing world, I talk of Malaysia, Indonesia, Africa, especially Kenya and Ghana, where we talk about dumps that are entering. This is because the system is poor. The government doesn't have appropriate people that can follow up and see what is really entering into the country. Why is it this? Because there is what we call corruption. There is what we call bribery. If 50 containers can enter a country and only 10 of them are checked, what is happening with the 40? Which means there is money that has been smuggled behind and it has entered the different pockets. Who suffers? That the people in the slums, what we call in French the bidonvilles, the banlieues, because what they are out for is what we have a little shelter and we're trying to have food and we are trying to look for money that we can send our children. And when we don't have this, we tend to send our kids. That's why statistically says out of the 100% of children found in Africa, 60% of them are found in bidonvilles, in slums. And when they are there, they don't have the money that they can help buy their basic needs. Their parents tend to send them to be picking up what we call trash. 7, after a research I carried out, it shows children from age between 7 and 15 are the most people who practice garbage enters. They tend to join groups that are very, very, that causes urban disorder. And when they're in this group, they tend to smoke, to practice alcoholism, and sometimes practice stealing, lies, robbery, because they are hungry, they don't have that. And the money that is meant for these people doesn't reach them. That's why creative society is trying to bring the truth to show that what is meant for them doesn't finally reach the hand. And that's why we are there to use creative society to tell the truth and make people know what is behind. To make people see that what is being practiced is not what we do say in parliaments and in government buildings is not what is being practiced, because the real people facing this are the people who are less vulnerable, the women, the children, because they don't have anything. Poverty is taking a toll. That is why in less developing countries, we tend to work and practice anything that can give us money to sustain our life. So I think we, creative society, for more messages to be heard, like what the doctor said, we have to create, we need to have ambassadors from different countries who are trying to raise this vision, this project to become a successful idea. And to do so, we need to nominate people who are going to bring the truth to the people who need it. We are the truth. The grassroots people, the villagers, those who are facing this calamity are the people that can tell you the truth. The government will not sit and tell you that this is what is happening. They won't give you the right statistics. They won't give you the right statistics. We know the cancer that this is causing. We know the pollution that it's causing. And it tends to death. Many are dying because of pollution, but many are enjoying because of this pollution. So life is like, you give me and I give you. But the truth we need to see here is how many people do survive from this problem we are facing called pollution. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Barry. And thank you so much for sharing this information. Yes, it is very sad, and things like this are still happening in the civilized world. And obviously in creative society, the human life has the highest value. And that's the first foundation, and everything is built around it. And also the transparency of information is another foundation. So all these matters will be solved, and people will not have to worry about food, and they will not live in poverty, because all the basic needs will be provided for everyone. And right now we would like to move to the next topic. And And another of the vital topics of today's society is also refugees. And climate cataclysms are actually escalating, as all of us can see. And we understand that this causes a constant rise of already millions of people from all around the world who were actually forced to leave their homes. And we understand that the topic of climate refugees is an issue already today. And as a result of increasing cataclysms, their count will only rise. And while preparing for the conference, volunteers of Creative Society have prepared a documentary movie about refugees. And right now, let's watch the fragment from this documentary movie. And then after that, we will ask the next question.
Why is there such inhuman treatment of people? I was thinking about it and decided to figure it out.
You will never spend a month without being attacked with a xenophobic attack, because they say as a foreigners we are stealing their work. I've lost that hope of being in the great society. I don't know, I've lost that hope because seeing the way that people are being killed, seeing the way that people are being shot in my eyes.
A child can be sold many times. I remember one day I came across the story of a girl who was, she was Turkish. She had been sold 17 times, and she had been trafficked from one country to another 17 times, and she had experienced only rape.
I also sat in many auctions as a customer, as an undercover when I was doing the undercover. There where we were sitting for the auctions, 9-year-old girl, 10-year-old girl, as per the demands. So the trade called the first time sex. Whenever the auctions will happen, new girls arrive in the trade. So they put the auctions. So who will bid the last demand, the money, that person only will use that victim whole night for his choice.
The business that is made of spare parts, the human spare parts. How many children have been transferred from one place to another and then being operated on for some rich guys in different parts of the world to get a kidney or get something else from their bodies against their will.
Black market, traffickers, mafia is part of this economy that is ruling the world. So what else I can say? That I only see that another possibility is to spend money instead of constructing walls like we are doing in Europe.
In our society, human life has no value. How is it possible that instead of help, people encounter violence, aggression, abuse, and slavery? This is not a migration crisis, but this is a crisis of humaneness.
People, by looking at the existing legal frame, will not ever be entitled asking for protection. Because you will ask them which country you're coming from, they would say there is no country. I had a country called X, but the country now is underwater. Or I had a village and this village is being totally destroyed or disappearing.
It turns out that there are still no effective programs for the resettlement of refugees. For so many years, the United Nations has been working. For so many years, the Refugee Rights Commission has been working. So many humanitarian organizations and NGOs around the world have been working, but there are no working, established or adopted programs on how to work with these refugees. There are none. And the Refugee Commission itself admits this.
Now refugees are forced to leave their homes. They face condemnation and cruelty. They are left alone with their misfortune because of the consumerist format of society. Tomorrow's climate catastrophes could be upon us as well. Answer yourself honestly. Are you ready to face what refugees face? Are you sure you won't be in their shoes? That you and your loved ones won't have to go through what they're going through?
Crisis of humaneness. I absolutely agree with this phrase. And I have to confess that every time I see this documentary movie, it just touches me down here in my heart. And I'm asking myself, how many of these pictures we need to see in order to understand that we cannot go longer this way? And hearing this one girl was sold 17 times, it's just horrible information, and it definitely should not be happening. And we have a Dr. Uba here, and she is an expert on this topic. And Dr. Uba, we would like to hear your experience. Could you please share it with our viewers?
Thank you very much. I am an ancestral queen from Africa, Nigeria, from the royal throne of Ezekemba I. And today I was appointed the Vice President of World Peace Committee for Canada after 7 years of service as the head of representatives of World Peace Canada under the leadership of late World President for World Peace Committee in 202 countries, late His Excellency Dr. Njoyo Sultan, who passed away January 18, 2021. So today, this is my first public appearance after the appointment as the Vice President of World Peace Committee for Canada. And this topic of refugee and slavery is a very heartbreaking topic for me to speak on. If you know the history of Africa, who were slaves all over the world, you will know how important this topic is to me, how Africans were taken out of their country and sold in other countries for slavery. Even in this 21st century, even in these modern civilizations, Africans are still suffering from slavery. Africans are still seen as less human on the planet, where they can dump garbage and where people that they can sell for slavery. It's a very heartbreaking situation. But by the mantle of peace upon my life, I speak my truth, and my truth is to spread the message of peace. So I'm going to speak on this topic on the grounds of peace as an icon, a humanitarian icon for global peace. So I'm making an appeal to every leader of every country, governments of all the countries that are modern countries that are blessed than the less privileged countries where poverty is the key of the reason where many people are being sold into slavery. Poverty is the reason where people run away from their country looking for where to find safety. And most of this poverty, some of them are from climate change, where people will lose their house, lose everything, lose their loved ones, and they found themselves in another country. The trauma of losing everything in your country and then running to a destination unknown, you don't know what life will be. That trauma is more than what anybody can imagine. And coming into another country to start up a new life. I'm opportuned to be in Canada as an immigrant when I came to Canada 22 years ago. And I'm grateful for Canada because Canada has a passage for refugees, where they help them to have a new life in Canada. And people treat them with humanity. People are very different in Canada, the way they treat people. I'm not saying that there are not people that have bad experiences, but I'm speaking from the angle of my own experience coming across people that declared refugee status, how government is helping them and how people are treating them. And I appreciate that in this country where I live as a Canadian citizen. So that is one of my pride, to speak up as a Canadian. When I introduce myself, I am proud to say I am a Nigerian Canadian, because Canada gave me the right and the power as a Canadian. And coming from another country, coming from Nigeria, living in Canada, Canada has cultural diversity where they respect other people's culture and religion. So I have a voice in Canada today based on cultural diversity, that I can be myself, be a proud African living in Canada. That has been my experience living in Canada. From Canada, I was able to travel back to Africa and release my musical album, Save Africa. So in my music, I have always been able to send my message across through creativity. And in my music, I was speaking about the government of Africa, why children of Africa are being suffering, why children of Africa are dying of hunger, why children of Africa are being slaves all over the world. And I've come across so many friends that I've made along my life path who are children that came out of great-grandfathers or great-grandmothers or grandmothers being sold as slavery. And those people are now living their life with the agony of what their parents went through, with the agony of what their grandparents went through as slaves. And they are bitter and they are angry. So what I'm trying to say is for people to raise a voice. If everybody, like there are so many humanitarian organizations who can raise a voice, if each and every one of us can raise a voice and speak about the trauma of refugee, trauma of slavery, why should this continue to be happening? That's a question that I don't have an answer. But if we join hands, one person can make a difference. If one person can speak up, like Creative Society is now sending the message across, and that message is spreading, people will have the awareness. And by creating an awareness, lives will be saved. By creating a chain reaction, one person's good deed can make a difference in the world. We might think that we cannot save people from slavery, we cannot save the people from refugee. Yes, we can. If we are raising the voice, speaking out the truth, sending out the message out, a message sent out into the universe as seeds planted in the soil of destiny. If we can keep on speaking the truth with every boldness, without any fear, and we keep on speaking the truth, we will make a difference. Even the people going through the bad situation, our voice will give them hope for a better tomorrow. Our voice will let them know that there are people who cares about you, who knows your situation, who are fighting for your situation. That will give them the inner strength, the inner peace to keep on going. That will save lives. And if we keep on speaking our truth, sending the message out into the media, there are people who will do something to save lives. I believe in Creative Society, and I'm grateful to have this opportunity to come on this interview today to speak about slavery and to speak about refugee. It's a topic that is heartbreaking. I might not be able to express the way I feel because I don't want to break down I don't want to break down in tears because this is the plight of my people. This is the pain of my people. So if I speak from the depth of my soul to express that pain, I might not be able to get my words across. Thank you very much for bringing me here today to speak. And I'm sending out message of hope to every refugee who found themselves in a situation where they ended up in another country, struggling. I'm praying for you and I'm giving you a message of strength to hold on, to keep on trying, to keep on making friends, to find a new family among your friends, to accept the country where you are as your home and keep on living. And for people who are on slavery, you found yourself being sold and found yourself in another country, like the video where we watched a girl has been sold 17 times. Only God knows what that girl has been through. I'm using this medium to send a message because there are so many people in such situations, crying, shedding tears of not having a family, of not having anybody. I am using this media to give you a hope that something is being done. Creative Society is your voice. They are speaking on your behalf. Keep praying for them to have the zeal to continue doing the good work that they are doing for humanity, because your life matters and they are speaking to save your life. This is a hope for you. Creative Society is a hope for you. And for the government and whoever that is watching this that is in power, the time has come for you to use your position to save life, for you to use your position to make a change, to make a difference in the world, to hear Creative Society. Pay attention to Creative Society. Contact Creative Society and make a difference and help them to spread the word. If you're in a bad situation as a refugee and you're in a bad situation as somebody sold into slavery, go online and contact Creative Society and help will come your way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Uba, for this powerful message. And indeed, nothing touches a heart deeper than own experience, than hearing this first-hand information. And I really like the idea that you have mentioned that one man can make a difference. This is very important to realize. And we can see basically you applying it, you voicing all the thoughts out. And this is, of course, much appreciated. Because as we've heard and seen today, we live in a consumer format of society where money and profit is on the first place, and human life is somewhere at the very bottom. And this is the root cause for all our problems, because this savage format of society brought us to a brink. And today, millions of people in the world understand that we can no longer go this way. We need to change the vector of development of the society towards where human life has the highest value, where human lives are safe, where everyone can live on a beautiful and clean planet. And today, already millions of people unite around this one common idea. Nevertheless, not all of the people know about this idea yet. And there are also a lot of people not knowing how Creative Society can help us deal with all of these issues. And that's why we would like to ask you the next question. How do you think that implementation of the 8 foundations into constitutions of the countries can help us solve these issues that we have been discussing today?
Absolutely, it will help. If every country can adopt its foundation, this world will be a better place. From the first day that the 8th foundation was sent to me and I was reading it, that was the happiest, one of the happiest days of my life. That a group of volunteers can sit together with such a passion to make a difference in the world. I believe that if every country adopts its foundation, this world will be a better place. So I'm making an appeal that the same thing that I said a few minutes ago about people in power, world leaders, presidents and CEOs of non-governmental organizations, charity foundations, for them to join hands with creative society and adopt the 8th foundation. 8th foundation talks about human life, respect for each and every one of us as one humanity. We might come from different countries, different shades of colors, different languages and religions, but we are one human race. And this is what creative society is all about. From my own understanding, from few times that I've been on board with creative society in their conferences and some of their videos, I'm appealing to the public to pay attention to creative society. Watch their videos, go online, look creative society up. If you have informations and suggestions of what will make creative society better, don't fail to drop it. But I believe that if every country in the world adopts its foundation of creative society, this world will be a better place. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Uba. Thank you so much for your bold voice that you speak. You're touching me as you're speaking, because it's literally like you can feel that you're talking so sincerely and from the bottom of your heart. And it's really inspirational for me to hear you, how you talk about the creative society and how strong you are. And also Barry, and thank you so much, because this is really important, what you just said. And also Barry, the next question, actually the same question also goes to you. So what do you think, how creative society and its 8 foundations can help to deal with all these issues we discussed today? Do you think that if we implement the 8 foundations into the constitution of each country, will these issues still exist?
Okay, once more, thank you for this question. After going through the video that was streamed live, it is heartbreaking and touching. What a sorrowful situation to hear that a girl child is sold for 17 times, and seeing numbers of men trying to ask for children between 9 and 10. The question is, where are we heading to? What do we have to do? We know refugee crisis has been one of the problems in this 21st century. From 2019 to date, we are facing refugee crisis. A lot of refugee camps everywhere from every continent is going day. What is the problem? You can see it is both climatically, war that drive people away from their main homes. It is really, really heartbreaking when you hear that I built my house and I could leave from there and go to settle in a different country because of maybe deforestation, maybe because of drought, desertification, maybe because of wars. Where are we really heading to? What is the question? What do we have to do? Is it the people in power that are pushing us to practice this? Is it our selfishness that is making us to become refugees? What is the question? You see children who are born in refugee camps, they've never seen their villages, neither their countries. This is heartbreaking. Africa is one of the continents that is really facing this problem. In my country now, there is a refugee problem because of a crisis that we are living in, the Anglophone crisis. Many people have left their homes because of wars. For me, I can say I'm a refugee where I'm studying because I'm studying in a different region where I'm supposed to study in the English-speaking country, the English-speaking part of the country. It's because of selfishness, the selfish political ambitions that our leaders in power are trying to practice, which is not really adequate. I feel the tears when I see people moving with their packs, leaving their homes, houses are being burned just to go settle in a place. The question is, where are we heading to? Where is the truth? Explain us the truth. We want to see it happen. Like what the doctor did say. I hear there are many who can't even see their parents, neither see their homes, or their homes were burned down due to bushfires, wars, and things that pushes them to go. Like you did ask, what help can the Earth Foundation really do if we do adopt policies, Earth Foundations in our government policies? I think it will do more. It will help, because if it is being adopted, it means there are certain things that are going to reach these people in terms of education, in terms of health, in terms of lots more. But the question is, the people sitting on top, they don't give the required necessary help to the people who need it. Some people do use it and do their personal development in terms of construction, in terms of helping their family members. That is where the problem lies. Having the right person who can practice it. I think through creative society and through the practices we are going to adopt by finding the truth, it is to have the right people who can help manage these 8 foundations. The problem is we can create it, there is no problem. There is funds for that can be created. But the problem is, are the funds used for this, are they really going to reach the people who need it in terms of food, in terms of shelter? But the problem is having the right people who are going to help manage this foundation. Because in developing countries, the main purpose is what? We want to have something to eat. That is the problem. Poverty is the talk of the day. And when there's poverty, people tend to do what they have to do. They don't even care about their neighbors. That is why the world is changing. In Africa, we had a policy before which called your neighbor's daughter is your child. Your neighbor's child is your child, which means you have the so-called role to help bring that child to order in the community. But now, where somebody doesn't even care about where a child is sleeping, what he's eating, or this is really heartburning. It hurts. It hurts when I see thousands and millions of people moving from place to place with no home to sleep, nothing to eat. So what I can really say is, I think adopting an Earth Foundation and having the rightful people to run for this is really going to help achieve the goal. Because I'm a young guy, I'm a young youth who is still growing, and I really want to bring change to the world. Because I always say, unity will stand and divided we fall. We can only hold our hands and stand as one family to make the change become a reality. That is what I can say. And like they say, it's time for change. But how do we achieve this change? It is through the voluntary act we practice. And I wish to say a kudos to Creative Society for what she is really doing. But the voice of Creative Society needs to be heard in every corner, every place, every region, every geographical side of the world, so that what we are aiming for will be achieved. It is time for the truth, and I'm young, and I really want to see the truth happen. That is why I give him my 24 hours time to make sure that the truth reaches the rightful people. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. That was very inspiring. And you are right that one of the burning issues of the consumer society is that we people are delegating our power to representatives who, at the end of the day, defend their own interests and the interests of their sponsors and don't really care about the people, us people, you know. And this is exactly the same issue also with all of the other organizations. And the only way how we can change something is if we stop delegating power to the representatives. If we people take on responsibility for all our decisions and actions and implement these 8 foundations. And only in this way, if we select someone who takes on responsibility, not the power, but the responsibility to implement all of these changes, then we can make sure with our own hands that our future will be better. Unless we people create the demand, you know, our representatives have got no reason to act. And I fully agree with both of you that first we people need to start to be active, start to push, you know, on our representatives to make this change happen. And I'm sure that they will be glad to do this change, because at the end of the day, it will also improve their life. So, Dr. Uba, would you like to add something?
Thank you for the good work that Creative Society is doing. I appreciate all the volunteers. I appreciate your passion. I appreciate the change that you're making in the world. And I stand by Creative Society, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you very much.
Many thanks. And dear viewers, hearing and understanding what is happening all around the world, you may ask yourself, and what does depend on me? You can take this information further and become a true hero today. You can become the voice of the truth. You can join on May 7th and speak about it everywhere, with everyone, on all social networks, and join this strategic step for all humanity. We are waiting for everyone to join the forum on May 7th. Right now, we don't have time to be silent anymore. By exposing the lies, we can unite and act together to achieve the common goal of building creative society.
And if you are an expert in any of the above issues, or someone who has a practical knowledge of consumers abuse, human slavery, refuge issues, or also witnessed climatic disasters, please contact us, because who can better tell the truth than you? And also at the finish line, I would like to again thank express my gratitude to dear Dr. Uba, dear Barry, for this very inspirational discussion and for all your information. And we'll thank you so much, and see you at the next international discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much.